Lysiak was the greatest player in Atlanta Flames history. A junior hockey legend, Lysiak was a second overall NHL draft pick and quickly established himself as a superior two-way player and a respected leader who became captain of the Flames. A blockbuster trade sent him to the Chicago Blackhawks, where he was a Chicago fan favorite. Unfortunately, he's often remembered for an ugly on-ice incident that resulted in one of the longest suspensions ever levied by the NHL. This is the story of Tom Lysiak, the kid from High Prairie, Alberta, who became one of the most respected players in the history of the game.
And quickly the Hawks come up the center ice. Lysiak against Sittler and drop pass to Doe. He gets it back. Lysiak in, score.
Tom Lysiak had an incredible career with the Medicine Hat Tigers and the Western Junior Canadian Hockey League. Tom played on a line with the future NHL star Lanny McDonald, and that duo terrorized the league. Lysiak led the league in assists and points for 2 consecutive seasons, racking up 143 and 154 points. In a 1971 game versus the Edmonton Oil Kings, he piled up 10 points, a league record. Lysiak was also the leading scorer in the 1973 playoffs as the Tigers won the WHL crown. During his 3 years with Medicine Hat, Tom scored an amazing 327 points in 195 games. Lysiak was projected to be among the top 3 picks in the 1973 draft. The Montreal Canadiens had the second pick and wanted Lysiak. The New York Islanders, who had picked first, had already made it clear that they would opt for Ottawa's 67th defenseman Dennis Potvin. But Lysiak didn't want to play in Montreal. Atlanta held the 5th pick overall in the draft and made it clear to Lysiak that the Flames wanted this scoring sensation. Lysiak really wanted to go to Atlanta too, but it was highly unlikely that he would clear Montreal, Toronto, and Vancouver and still be available to Atlanta. When it became evident that Tom wanted to play in Atlanta, Montreal traded its number 2 choice to the Flames for future considerations. The Habs chose Bob Gainey instead, and the future considerations, a 1977 first-round draft pick, was used to draft Mark Napier. When Tom entered Atlanta's training camp, it was clear he'd be a bona fide NHL star. He plays like a veteran, gushed head coach Bernie Geoffrion. I haven't seen a rookie like him come into the league since Gilbert Perreault. Assistant GM Johnny Wilson, who had coached a rookie Marcel Dion Detroit, said, quote, Lysiak's better than Dion. Lysiak got off to a flying start during his NHL rookie season and finished second in the Calder Trophy voting to Dennis Potvin. He finished his rookie season with 64 points, including a team record 45 assists. Tom was an instant hit with Atlanta fans, and he settled into the Atlanta community. In the following season, 74-75, Lysiak continued to produce, increasing his point production to 77 points. He led the Flames in scoring for the 3rd and 4th consecutive seasons in 1976 and 1977 as well, with 82 and 81 points. And he was chosen to play in the NHL All-Star Game for 3 consecutive seasons between 1975 and 1977. While things were going great for Lysiak on and off the ice, he lost a large sum of money when his agent, Richard Sorkin, a man he trusted with his finances, stole money from Tom and squandered it on gambling. Tom wasn't alone in this betrayal, as teammates Ed Kia and Ken Houston, as well as numerous other NHL players, were also fleeced by Sorkin. Despite this distraction, Lysiak kept producing. He centered a line dubbed the Downtown Connectors, with wingers Willie Plett and Eric Vale, both of whom were Calder Trophy winners. In 1977-78, Lysiak became team captain and was Atlanta's top scorer for the 5th straight season.
Gets it to the point. Ribble shoots it toward the net. Lysiak alone in front. Open net score. At 1903, Bob Lysiak.
And despite this success, Lysiak never saw eye to eye with humorless coach Fred Creighton. Eventually, GM Cliff Fletcher orchestrated one of the NHL's biggest trades ever, an 8-player deal with the Chicago Blackhawks. On March 13, 1979, Lysiak was traded to Chicago with Pat Ribble, Greg Fox, Harold Filipoff, and Miles Zaharko in exchange for Ivan Boldarev, Phil Russell, and Darcy Rhoda. The trade angered Flames fans and shocked Lysiak, who had recently signed a 7-year contract to stay in Atlanta. Lysiak's intro to the Windy City was chilly, as the traded players were popular and he was hampered by a nagging groin injury. In 1979-80, a healthy Lysiak earned the affection of Chicago fans as he scored 69 points and added 76 points in 1980-81. In 1981-82, he equaled his career best 82 points and scored a career-high 32 goals. At this point, Tom played in a line together with Rich Preston and Darryl Sutter. Sutter referred to Lysiak as the best player I ever played with.
Bounced off Blaisdell, so it's picked up by Lysiak. Tom Lysiak around Barrett, put it right to the goal mouth, and they score! Oh my goodness.
With Sutter, Preston, and Lysiak leading the way, the Hawks made a memorable three-round playoff run in 1982, defeating both the Minnesota North Stars and St. Louis Blues.
Fighting to get this puck out of their own end. Lysiak set up by Wilson. He's got decoy with him. He shoots and scores. And the roof is about ready to pull off this play. 3-0 Blackhawks. And they're going to run the North Stars right out of town.
In the 70s and 80s, there were few better all-around centers than Lysiak. Now, this sequence in a 1982 game versus the Flyers illustrates Tom's stick-handling, passing, and shooting skills, as well as his physicality and grit.
Around behind where it's cleared, but not out by Arthur. Poked toward the net by Lysiak, who cut off that pass, and Lysiak more and more becoming a factor in this game as the puck tied up in the Flyers' defensive left wing corner. Kicked out to Lysiak, pivots outside of Hoffmeyer, looks to set up the pass, still has the puck along his right wing boards, comes to the point, Hutchison through a screen, knocked down in front, there's a shot, save of Lysiak, score, and a rebound.
Lysiak picks up his second goal of the game, 21st of the season, on a rebound as he just controlled the whole play inside the Flyers zone.
In 1982-83, Tom missed 19 games with a knee injury, but still managed to score 61 points in 61 games as the Blackhawks finished with 101 points and again advanced to the Campbell Conference Finals before losing to the Edmonton Oilers. Lysiak solidified his reputation as a clutch player, averaging over 1 point per postseason game for the second consecutive season. However, the 1983-84 season proved to be a nightmare for Lysiak and the Hawks, with Tom's season unraveling in an uncharacteristic way. On the night before Halloween, 1983, Lysiak tripped linesman Ron Foyt during a 6-1 win over the Hartford Whalers at Chicago Stadium. Upset at constantly being waved out of the faceoff circle on this night, Lysiak took the winger's position behind Foyt, and once the puck was dropped, he upended Foyt with a chop on the back of his leg. Lysiak was handed a 20-game suspension. The 20-game rule was an automatic penalty once called by the referee, in this case Dave Newell. The NHL granted referees this power after controversial incidents involving Paul Holmgren and Terry O'Reilly earlier in the decade. Suffering through numerous injuries and playing behind Dennis Savard and Troy Murray, Lysiak adopted a more defensive role over his next two seasons and chose to retire after the 85-86 campaign. In retirement, Lysiak soon returned to the southern charm of Georgia. He created his own landscaping business just outside of Atlanta, where he also owned a horse farm. Lysiak also pursued his passion for hunting and fishing in retirement. It was during a 2012 hunting trip with former NHL enforcer Kurt Walker that Tom began to show significant physical weakness. On a later trip, Tom was unable to ride a bicycle. Clearly, something was seriously wrong with Tom's health. It took doctors at 2 Atlanta hospitals and the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, months to unravel all of Lysiak's ailments. Eventually, he was diagnosed with leukemia. But by the time he was diagnosed, he had also contracted Lyme disease. Tom's health continued to decline, and on May 30, 2016, he passed away at the age of 63. Coincidentally, another NHL star, Rick McLeish, also passed away on the same day. Tom Lysiak's proud legacy continues to live on. His daughter Jessie finished in the top 3 on season 4 of the U.S. version of MasterChef. She's married to NHL defenseman Justin Braun.